Let's now do the first part of building the dynamic node farm website, which is building the templates that will hold the actual data. And remember that our goal is to build this kind of dynamic website where we have an overview, where we have all the products, and then each product has its detail page, just like I showed you before. And this data here is of course read from the JSON file. So if we change the JSON file, for example, deleting one of these products, then reloading this page, then that product should be gone from here. Or if we changed some of this data here or the name, well, then that should update here on the site. Again, because it's a dynamic website built from the data that's in the JSON file. So, as I mentioned, the first step is to actually build these templates. One for this overview page and one for the product detail page. And we're going to start with the detail page. And I'm going to build these templates based on the static web pages that we have here in the templates folder. So let's take a look at them. So we have overview and product. And again, we're going to start with the product.html. So we have here the product name, then this image here, which is actually an emoji, but that doesn't really matter. So instead of having to request real images for all of these different products, I choose to just go with emojis. That's much easier. The same actually for the style. So I have all the CSS style inlined into the HTML pages so that we don't have to make multiple requests to getting these different data, right? Because actually each different file will trigger a different request, okay? Remember before where we had the request for the favicon, right? So we saw one request for the root, so for the main page, and then one request for that image. And what that means is that each asset, so each piece that is part of the website, will get its own request, and we would then have to handle that. And we don't want to do that, and so I simply inlined the style into these HTML pages. All right. So here's a bunch of style, and then here we have the name of the product somewhere. Here. So it's the name of the product. Here is the product image, which again is just an emoji, but it comes here from this image field. So we have this field called image, right? Then we have where it's come from, some of the ingredients, and the price. And also the description down here, okay? And again, all of this comes from these different fields. So let's take a look at the fields we have. So product name, image, from, nutrients, quantity, price, whether it's organic or not, and the description. So what we're going to do now is to basically replace all of these pieces that we want to add dynamically with a placeholder. And we're then later, with our code, replace that placeholder with the real piece of data. Okay? So let's start here with the product name. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete that and then put a placeholder here. And I can do anything that I want for a placeholder. I just like to go, in this case, with something like this. So product name, and then the percentage, and then the curly braces. So again, this could be anything that we wanted, but we want to find something that is probably not on the page so that we don't replace anything wrong. So anything that we actually don't want to replace, okay? And I could put something like this here, okay, and then replace all of that. But I think like this, it looks nice and it's easy to recognize. And so all we have to do is to go ahead and put this all over here, and I'm then going to replace, of course, these names. So here we have the nutrient. Here we have the quantity, and here I have the price. Down here we have the price again, you see, and the price is just the number. Okay, the euro sign here stays right there, because the price that we have is actually just the number. Let's take a look at that right here in JSON. So we have just 650, but not the currency. And actually the same here. So let's grab that and copy it here very quick. And yeah, actually I forgot to replace this one. So this is from. And let's actually write out from, not in uppercase, so that this text makes a bit more sense. So for example, from Portugal or from Spain or whatever. Oh, what's that here? Okay, I guess I just wrote in the middle of product name. So nutrients. Okay. Oh, and down here we have, of course, the description. So let's replace that as well. Oh, of course, I need to get this one back. And so description. Next up, we have these images. So the avocado. And so I'm hitting a couple of Command Ds, pasting this here. And so I can edit these here all at the same time. Okay, then image, and something here in the title we also want to replace the image up here and the product name also. So product name here, and here the image, so that this one as well will get replaced dynamically. All right, now just one more thing, which is a bit more complex. Where is it? It's here. So some products are organic and some are not. And so there is a class in the CSS that will get added to all of these elements when they are not organic. Okay, so that is this class here. So when it's not organic, then it should not be displayed. So this organic badge here. And just to show you what I'm talking about, the organic badge is this thing here. Okay, so we do not want to display that in case it is false in the JSON. So what we're going to do here is to actually add another placeholder here, or actually inside of the class. And so I'm going to call this one not organic. And you will see why a bit later. Okay, when we replace this, it will make a bit more sense to you. All right, so I think this one is done. And I simply overwrote everything that we had. So let me now just call this template product. Okay, so this one is done. Let's move on to the next one, the overview. And this one is actually going to be a bit different. And let me show you why that is. So again, we have all the CSS inlined here. And now we have this cards container. And then for each of the products, we have one card. So each of these cards here has this figure tag, right? Now we actually do not know how many of these cards will be here in this overview, right? Imagine we have 10 products in the JSON, then we need 10 of these cards. But imagine that we only have 1 or 2, well, then we do not want all the 10 cards, but only 2. So how are we going to do that? Well, we will actually create just another template where there's only one card in there. And we will then include one of these templates for each of the cards that we want. So each of the products in the JSON file. All right, makes sense? So let's call this here the template overview. And I'm going to go ahead and create the template card. So what I'm going to do here is to now, as I mentioned, now it's back at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one figure. That was too much. And paste it here. Let's bring this down a little bit. Okay, so each card now gets its own figure. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is to delete all of the cards from here and create a placeholder here as well. Product cards. Okay, so again, later on in our code, we will then create as many cards as we need here. For example, if we have 5 products, we create 5 cards like this. We will then put them together into one string and then replace product cards with that string, which contains all of these different cards. All right. So actually, we are done with this one. Okay, because most of the stuff happens inside of the template card. So nothing else to replace here. I'm just coming down here to copy this here. And so now it's very simple for us to replace what we need here. So this here is the image, and we actually have it twice. Okay, that makes it look a bit nicer. Image, image. Then here we have the product name. Remember, here in this place, we will have again the not organic placeholder. And again, this one will make more sense to you a bit later. More organic. Then the quantity here. Then the price. So we need to also actually build the link here. So this one here, so the A element, in case you're not really familiar with HTML, the A element is for a link. So let me actually show it to you in the real working example. So when we hover here on this link, down there in the left bottom corner, so down here, you will see that it is /product and then ID equals to 0. And this one is ID equals to 1, ID equals 2. Okay, and if we click on that, we see it actually here. So /product and then ID equals to 0. And this ID here is exactly the ID that we have in the JSON. Okay, so this one here. So the avocado has 1, the goat cheese has 1, sorry, the avocado has 0, of course. The broccoli has 2, and so on and so forth. And so here actually we need to build the link. So product, and of course not in uppercase. So product, and the ID is ID. Okay, so then we have to replace this ID placeholder here with the correct number. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth, depending on how many products there are. So suppose that we have a cheese here, okay, let's go back here. Well, then the image will be this here, the product name will be this, and the ID will be 1. Okay, and so this here will then translate to ID equals to 1, and or handler here. So this server handler here will then take care of going to the right page when the product ID is 1. Okay, so that logic is not yet implemented, but of course we're going to do that in the next couple of lectures. So we have now the templates actually built, and so let's move on to the next video where we will actually start to fill out the templates and send back the final page to the browser.